Have you ever been trapped in a relationship with a woman where you feel like you're walking on eggshells? Or maybe it's like a hostage situation where, when you get out of it, you feel like you've been set free after a long prison sentence or something. A lot of guys have been in relationships like that. And a lot of times they don't even know that they're getting into a relationship that's toxic. You see, a lot of people who get into toxic relationships, when they start out, they don't seem toxic to them. They seem like they're great relationships. They're like, man, this woman is really into me. This is a great relationship. And a lot of times they don't even realize it's happening to them. So what we're going to do today is talk about the 5 signs that she's toxic and how you need to stay away from her. Hey guys, I'm David Maxwell with Thriving Man, and we're here to help you conquer your everyday chaos and live a thriving life as a man. Well, today we're talking about the Siren song, 5 Signs That a Woman is Toxic. And when we say siren, you may not know where that comes from. It's actually Greek mythology. The sirens were women who were so devastatingly beautiful that men couldn't resist them. And what they would do at this time is they would sit on rocks and sing songs. And as the sailors passed by, the sailors would sail their ships right up to them and crash them in the rocks, and they would die. Not a very good thing, something to kind of stay away from. But we've all known guys who have gotten into those situations where they've gotten involved with a woman who's like a siren, and she has brought him to his doom. And that's a negative thing. Maybe you've been in that situation, or maybe you have a friend who's in that situation. It's not a good situation to be in. And what you want to do is kind of be on the guard. Not all women are sirens. Not all women are toxic, but the ones that are leave a devastating wake of just broken hearts and broken lives behind them. You don't want to get caught up in that. So we're going to talk about the 5 things to look for to help you recognize toxicity. Is that a word, toxicity? I don't know, but it sounds good. To recognize toxic women and stay away from them. Okay, of the 5 signs if she's toxic, the first one is the cling factor. And what that means is it's a woman who really wants to cling on to you and be with you all the time. And what happens a lot of times is she needs you, but that need can slowly become a noose that tightens around your neck. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's constant calling. What are you doing? Why aren't you here with me? You need to be with me all the time. I need you in my life. Or they need you to make every little decision of their life. They can't do anything without you. At first that kind of feels good. Hey, she needs me. And there's nothing wrong with us needing each other, but eventually that need becomes a real strong pull where she needs you to be everything to her. Because a lot of guys, what happens is they enjoy this, especially in the beginning. Man, this woman's obsessed with me. She wants to spend every waking moment with me. She loves me. She'll do anything for me. And they get into it. But eventually that clinginess becomes a weight that weighs them down because they realize she can't do anything without me. She won't do anything without me. She demands everything from me all the time, and that's going to hurt them. So the first thing to look for is a woman who's very clingy, who just needs you all the time. And hey, if that's happened to you, share some comments below. I'd love to hear your stories of how you recognized it and maybe what you did to get away from it. Okay, the second sign that she's toxic is the isolation game. And that's similar to the cling game because what isolation does is she wants you all to herself. So she kind of pulls you away from everything else in your life. She pulls you away from family, from friends, from your hobbies, from things that you enjoy. And she kind of demands you to do everything with her. And the funny thing about this, and I don't know if it's funny, but kind of sad, it's kind of a brainwashing technique. When they brainwash people, they isolate them from everything and they don't know what's going on. And I'm not saying the women are doing this on purpose. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but they are isolating you. They're keeping you from your world. And what that does is it kind of pulls you away where your whole world becomes her. And in this world, she controls you. And a lot of times she says things that feel like she's there to help you. She says, well, those people don't understand you like I do. I'm your best friend. I'm your only friend. I'm the only one you need. Or she asks questions like, why do you need those friends? They're not good for you. Now, sometimes she might be giving you a warning if it's a healthy relationship, but when it's unhealthy, she's just trying to isolate you. She's trying to pull you away from those who may genuinely care about you. Because what you want as a man is you want a woman who will come into your world and be a part of your world. You're a part of her world, she's a part of your world, and you're bringing those worlds together. You're not cutting off the other worlds. You're not isolating yourself just to each other. You're bringing a fullness to it because you're bringing your world, she's bringing her world, and it's just a whole lot better for the relationship. But if she's demanding that you give up everything and you give up your world, that's a dangerous place to be. You need to break free. The third sign that she's toxic is that she kind of keeps you in what I call the compliment cage. Now, what is the compliment cage? Well, if you've ever seen a bird, especially birds who repeat phrases, well, most of them live in a cage in a house. And what that means is she kind of keeps you in her world to be her compliment, to be someone who makes her feel good about herself. So your only purpose is to be there for her ego. So you're there to feed her ego. We see this in guys who are the friend guy. Now, maybe you've been the friend guy. I know I've been the friend guy in the past when I was young. Girls keep them around. They're not going to like them. They're not going to date them, but they keep them around to feel good about themselves. You know, oh, I'm so ugly. Oh no, you're beautiful. You're great. And the guy's hoping she'll date him. She never will because he's in the cage. He's just there to make her feel good about herself. And a lot of women will date men for that very same reason. Now, I'm not saying men don't do that too. A lot of men do that. A lot of men date for arm candy so other men respect them. That's creepy and weird. But we're talking about the other side. We're talking about women who do that to men. And if you're that guy, she has you there to kind of be someone who just feeds her, who feeds her ego. And the reason this is dangerous is this puts you in a place where you're constantly seeking her approval. Guys who are in this compliment cage are always walking on eggshells because they're always trying to do things to placate her, to make her feel better, to help her with her bad day. She never helps you with your bad day, but you're expected to help her with her bad day by complimenting her, telling her everything's okay. And a lot of times she controls you with emotional outbursts. She blows up on you. She said, you don't understand. And she does these things to try to get you to kind of go her way. The reason that's dangerous is that your opinion matters. What you think matters. And you want to be in a relationship where both of you are being honest. You're being real. You're talking about what's really going on in your life. You're not there to hide your feelings to just compliment her feelings or to make her feel better about herself. Yes, you do compliment her. You do build her up, but she should do the same thing for you. That's a healthy relationship. If you're in the compliment cage, it's time to break free. The fourth sign of a toxic relationship is the time imbalance. And what I mean by that is she expects you to be available for her all the time, but she's never available to you except when it's convenient. You know, it's the old saying, her time is gold, your time is pennies. She wants you to just come at her beck and call. Now, in relationships, there is a give and take when it comes to time. We serve each other. We give to each other. That's healthy and good because it's both giving and taking. When it's a time imbalance, she's always taking and expecting you to give. And that's a negative because that means she's basically controlling the relationship. She's controlling you. She's controlling your time. She's controlling the relationship. And you don't want to be in a relationship like that. It feels good for a while. She wants me. She needs me. But the problem is eventually she's just going to have you like as a pet. And that means is you're going to be there for her convenience. You're going to do things for her convenience. And she expects you to like that. She expects you to say, okay, because in her mind, her time is worth more than yours. She's better than you. And you are there to feed her. You are there to take care of her. You're there to entertain her. You're there to do these things. And it's a very bad time imbalance and it's going to hurt you. And the problem with this today is we have a lot of men who struggle with their own self-worth, with their own insecurities. And a lot of women are feeding on that. And they're creating this time imbalance. You've seen it. You've seen the guy who, when he dates a girl, he ghosts everybody. He disappears. Why? Because she's demanding this of him. And he willingly gives it because he thinks he's not worth anything else. He's not worth more than that. And the thing you have to do as a man is understand your time is worth something too. Your life is worth something too. And you want to be in a relationship where she respects your time as much as you respect hers. Yes, we respect each other's time, but when it's a time imbalance, what she's saying is, you really don't deserve it. She does, and you need to give everything to her. And that's toxic. The fifth sign of a woman being toxic comes from the outside perspective. What is the outside perspective? The outside perspective is when friends or family give you warnings, when they tell you. Now you say, well, they don't understand, David. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand her. They don't know her story. They may not. But that outside perspective is important for you to listen to because they're not emotionally invested. You see, you can get emotionally invested in a relationship, and that emotional investment can kind of cause you to be blind to what's going on. And what happens is a lot of guys miss the outside perspective. They don't see what's going on. And they have friends or family come to them and say, hey, she seems kind of dangerous. And you're like, no, you just don't get it. She's different from everybody else. And what you're doing is you're explaining away her toxic nature. And you want to be careful of that. If everybody's coming to you and telling you and warning you about her, you should listen. Now, can sometimes people be wrong? Could they be trying to control you? Yes. And that's why I'm saying listen. I'm not saying you automatically take it. What I'm saying is if there's someone out there who really genuinely cares for you and loves you in a real way, and they're coming to you and warning you about someone, you need to at least give them a listen. And if the girl is telling you not to listen to them, to ignore them, that's a warning sign, guys. That's a warning sign that she's toxic. So if you have an outside perspective, seek it, get the input, and then you can weigh it and see what's going on here. Because if you're emotionally invested in the relationship, it's hard for you to really be balanced. Okay, guys, closing out, it's the understanding that you deserve a healthy, strong relationship. You deserve that. You deserve a woman who cares for you and loves you for who you are, and you need to be a guy who cares for her and loves her the way she is. And what happens when people are toxic is they're really going into relationships for themselves. It's ego-driven, it's self-driven. You don't want to be that. So the best thing you can do as a man is grow yourself, grow your emotional side, grow so you can understand relationships better. One of the best places to do that, go to thrivingman.com. We have all kinds of resources to help you grow as a man so you can bring your whole self to a relationship. And that's what you want to do. And when you do that, I guarantee you're going to have a better relationship than anything you could have with someone that's toxic. A lot of men get around toxic women, and what happens? They get cynical, they get bitter, and they kind of just brush everything away. You don't want to be that guy. You want a good relationship, but it takes work. You got to work on yourself, then you got to work on a relationship. When you do, you're going to have a thriving relationship because you'll be a thriving man.